Chapter 2, Native People. Native Americans have lived in and around the canyon for at least the last 10,000 years. The first humans to see the Grand Canyon were bands of hunters who roamed the American Southwest. When they first stood at the rim of the canyon, they would have looked at the same incredibly colorful rock formation seen today. In fact, except for a few recent buildings scattered along the south rim of the Grand Canyon, almost everything these ancient people saw looks the same now. 10,000 years is just a blink of the eye in the formation of a canyon, and that is at least 6 million years old. These first visitors were nomads who traveled and hunted throughout the Southwest. They did not build permanent homes or villages. Some of the animals they hunted still live in the Grand Canyon: deer, antelope, bighorn sheep, and rabbits. The only trace these ancient people left behind are the spearheads they used for hunting bighorn sheep and deer. Archaeologists call these people Paleo Indians. Paleo means ancient. Between 2,000 and 4,000 years ago, other groups of nomadic hunters came to the canyon. They are called the desert culture, and they made figures of animals from willow twigs they split and bent. These figures were left in hundreds of limestone caves that are cut into the canyon's walls. They were probably gifts to their gods. Some of these original split twig figures are on display at the park's Tusayan Museum. Tusayan is the ruin of an 800-year-old village that was built by the Pueblo Indians. It is located about 25 miles east of Grand Canyon Village, near the Desert View Watchtower. The next native people to live in the canyon were the Anasazi. They arrived at the Colorado Plateau roughly 1,500 years ago. Their name comes from the Navajo word that means ancient ones, or ancient enemy. The Anasazi were hunters and farmers. They hunted deer, antelope, and sheep. In the summer, they planted corn, beans, and squash. They also gathered and ate pinon nuts, pods from yucca trees, and cactus fruit. The Anasazi wove beautiful baskets and made sandals, clay bowls, and other items. In the winter, they used deerskin and rabbit fur to make capes and blankets. In the late 12th century, a dry spell forced the Anasazi to abandon the Grand Canyon and move south and east to the Hopi mesas and Rio Grande Valley. Not long after the Anasazi left the Grand Canyon, other Native American tribes began to arrive. First came the Hopi. They have lived around the Grand Canyon for over 1,000 years. One of their villages, Oribe, is probably the oldest community in the United States. It's over 800 years old. Today, Hopi Indians live on a small reservation surrounded by a much larger reservation belonging to the Navajo Indians. Navajo and Hopi Indians have lived near each other for centuries. There have been many disagreements between the two tribes. The Navajo became sheep herders starting in the late 1400s. That's when Spanish explorers first brought sheep to the Southwest. The Hopi, however, have always been farmers, raising crops such as corn and beans. They have resented sheep grazing because it ruins the land for farming. Another tribe of hunters, the Southern Paiute, lived on the Kaibab Plateau north of the canyon. Kaibab means mountain turned upside down in the Paiute language. They first came to the Grand Canyon around 1300 AD. The Havasupai tribe's reservation land cuts right through the canyon, In fact, the Havasupai are the only tribe remaining in the canyon today. Their 188,077-acre reservation borders the western edge of Grand Canyon National Park. Their name means people of the blue-green water. It refers to the blue Havasu Creek and its spectacular waterfalls. This is a popular but remote area. It can only be reached by hiking, by mule, or by helicopter. The Havasupai own and operate a hotel and campground near the creek and waterfalls. The Zuni, who live in northern New Mexico today, also lived in the Grand Canyon. They have a unique language that is unlike any other Native American dialect. Another canyon area tribe is the Hualapai. Hualapai means people of the tall pines. They have never lived in the canyon, but hunt and farm west of the park. In 2007, they built Grand Canyon Skywalk. It is a glass-bottomed observation platform. It allows visitors to look straight down to the canyon floor. Tourists are amazed by the thrilling view. However, for the Native Americans who have lived in the region for so long, the canyon is important for much more than its scenery. The Grand Canyon is a place filled with great spiritual meaning. The Zuni, for example, regard certain waterfalls in the canyon as sacred places. Most Native American tribes believe in the flood myth, a story that tells of a new beginning for the world after a great flood. The Hopi believe that the flood took place at the Grand Canyon. Hopi men still make pilgrimages to the Grand Canyon. They come to collect salt from a mine near the Colorado River. The salt is used in their tribal rituals. For all these Native people, the Grand Canyon is first and foremost a sacred site, one that must be treated with respect and protected for future generations.